Yeah. Moral philosophy, normative ethics theories, deontology, structure around teaching notes, and ontology references, key concepts, skill development, and assessment. That's what I'm going to talk about this time. I'm presenting this on the framework table, moral philosophy, normative ethical theories, deontology. Okay, I'm talking about the framework of moral philosophy. Now, I'm going to explain in details on this slide, like my slide focus point, teaching notes, anthology references, key concepts, skills development and assessment evaluation. So, number one, introduction to moral philosophy. Outline the nature and the purpose of moral philosophy. Clarify difference between descriptive and normative ethics. You know, general moral in that anthology references the general moral theory. Introduction, e.g., Kant excerpts. Okay, key concept is about morality, ethics, value systems, rational will. In the skills development, critical reading, distinguishing ethical branches, which is very lovely. Assessment evaluation, the diagnostic quiz on ethical terminology. And this is okay. So now we go to the next section, which is the next section is normative ethics overview. Normative, normative ethics overview. Present main normative frameworks, deontology, consequentialism, virtue ethics. Okay, ontology reference, all of them according to the table, like comparative ethical theory text and normative duty, consequences, virtue under the key concepts. In skill development, we have concept mapping of ethical schools. Yeah. Assessment evaluation, group discussion, comparing frameworks. Okay. Now we go to the next. Okay, going to the next, which is Kant's ethical project. We have taken note of it. Introduction to Immanuel Kant aim to ground morality in reason and autonomy. The anthology references is Kant's groundwork of the metaphysics of morals introductory passages. Okay, key concepts rationality and autonomy. That is autonomy, moral law. Okay, skill development, analytical summarizing, text interpretation. Alright, well, we summarize things. Assessment evaluation is short reflective essay. Why reasons matter in ethics. Reason matters in ethics. This is lovely. We're going to dive into it more because of my time. Electricity in my area is funny, so I just use this place bar to use the light. Okay. In the side focus point, we have deontology defined. The teaching notes of it is explain the principle of duty-based ethics and moral obligation, independent of outcomes. It's a deep word to dive into because of the time, so I'm going to shift up it just to summarize easily. The autonomy reference, Kantian and modern deontological interpretations. Okay, key concept, duty, obligation, motive rules. Okay. Then we have the skill development conceptual differentiation of duty versus desire. Okay, we dive into it, it can give us good information we can rely on, which is lovely. Assessment evaluation, class 4, or quiz identifying the ontological reason. So, this is I go to the next one, which is the categorical imperative. Now, as I said, I'm somewhere noisy where there is no light here. I just came to use light in the bar, and bar is noisy. So sorry about this, and this is not an excuse anyway. So we talking about the categorical imperative. In the teaching notes, we talk about the introduce Kant's central moral law as a test of universal moral principles. In ontology references groundwork formula of universal law section, which is very lovely to dive into. The key concept is categorical versus hypothetic imperatives universality. So, which is lovely, and we have logical reasoning, applying universalization test in the skills development, and the assessment evaluation is a written analysis of a simple moral dilemma. I love to teach this because of our time. I'm not able to say something more about it now. Then we go to the next one, which is first formulation, universality test. Teaching, of course, to teach the principle acts only on that maxim you can will as a universal law. Groundwork section 2, universality, volatilization, consistency, contradiction in conception. Then we go to skills development, problem solving through ethical scenarios. And apply the test to personal examples, e.g., lying. Then we have this number 7, which is second formulation, humanity as an end. Okay, in the teaching notes, we have explained moral respect for persons as rational agents. Ooh, wonderful. Groundwork section 2, humanity formula. Then we go into the key concept. Key concept is human dignity and autonomy. That is autonomy, intrinsic worth. Lovely. Skills development, we are empathy mapping, ethical reasoning about rights, the human rights. Okay. Case study, workplace respect or discrimination issue on the assessment evaluation, which is lovely. We go to the number 8, formulation, kingdom of end. Wow, wonderful. The teaching notes talking about the explore the Kant's vision of a moral community governed by reason. All right. That is a lot of topics I love to dive into and to discuss the details. So the time is said. I'm trying using light here. Okay, then we go into the ontology references about groundwork section 3, and we go key concepts, moral legislation, community moral law. And in this skills development, we have conceptual synthesis, collaborative ethical dialogue. Wonderful. In the assessment evaluation, we have group presentation, design a kingdom of ends. That's lovely. This will give a core value of how to go about this teaching method. Then we have the number 1, the duty and moral worth. That's the distinguish between acting from duty and acting in accordance with duty. Wonderful. Count examples: shopkeeper, beneficence, etc. Okay, key concept is about intent, motive, moral worth. Skills development, textual analysis and argument reconstruction, such as assessment evaluation, also short writing task, evaluation motives in real examples. And with this concept, you can be able to give details to grab the information I'm trying to pass across. And we go to number 10, the freedom and autonomy. In the teaching notes, it said examine the link between freedom and moral responsibility, which is lovely. In the critic of practical reason extract in the ontology references, the key concept is saying autonomy, free will, moral responsibility. It's all about Kant, right? And the skills development is a reflective reasoning, philosophical debate. Debate can be on free agents, be moral, which is lovely to have good time with one another in the discussion, passing on messages that are vital. And now we come into the number 11, which is deontology, modern context. It's about apply Kantian ideas to modern issues, AI, ethics, professional conduct, justice. In the ontology references is a contemporary ethical discussion citing Kant, which is lovely. It's good to cite work to enable credibility to the rightful owner. And the key concept, we have duty to persons, rights, moral, limits of technology, ethical application, research, synthesis. Also in the assessment evaluation is the project applying categorically imperative to a modern dilemma. Lovely. Then we have the critics of deontology. Okay, in the present day, criticism, rigidity, conflict of duties, lack of emotion. Now we're talking about it nowadays, uh, polling. Nowadays, government and all we're passing through from one conflict to another because of the moral conflict. Yeah. We're talking about anthology reference as well, the moral critics rose food, of course, which is good. Key concept is pluralism, moral intuition, contextual ethics. In the skills development, is the argument evaluation, contegora that is counter-argument, that's counter-argument formulation. Easy is duty enough to ground morality. Yes, thank you. And comparative evaluation, of course, compare deontology with utilitarianism and virtue ethics. Anthology comparative section, consequence, virtue, duty, character. That's the key concept. Alright? In the skills development, we have comparative chatting, evaluative judgment. Good. Then, of course, assessment evaluation, timed test on ethical theory contrast. There's a lot of things to teach, which is lovely for me. Now we're talking about integrating deontological thinking, that is to encourage personal and professional ethical reflection on my teaching notes, which is lovely to dive into. And in the anthology references, we consider the ethical case, anthologies, education, medicine, law. Okay. The key concept is integrity, moral reasoning, justice. Those all rhyme together. And we go about skills development, reflective practice, ethical self-assessment. So assessment evaluation is journal reflection, applying duty ethics to daily decisions. This is we have the number 15 before that is the conclusion and synthesis that summarize core principles, reinforce moral reasoning through Kant's legacy. The Kant has dropped a big legacy for us, and I was talking about the anthology references, is a recap of groundwork themes. For sure, key concept is moral law and autonomy, universality, also skills development, concept integration, philosophical that is articulation. Thank you. Assessment evaluation, final assessment, structure easy, essay on applying Kantian ethics to real life dilemmas. And I give reference from my own William Brown. My name is William Brown. Referencing the Kant Emmanuel groundwork of the metaphysics of morals, translated by Mary Grigor, revisited, that is revised by James Timmerman, Cambridge University Press, 2012. That's 2012. Okay, the Open Library 2, Cambridge University Press, and Assessment 2. Yeah. The next one is Alison Henry, E. Kant's groundwork for the metaphysics of morals, a commentary, Oxford University Press.